remember, but before we were first opening, I met you in Waffle House before.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was like, I just came over and was like,
sitting,
hey, I've just opened a gym and I just recognize you from, and it's kind of crazy. Is like, I'm kind of like a fan of Brother Moto. You know what I mean? Which is like, when I used to see the T-shirts everywhere, and I was like, what is Brother Moto? You know, they were literally all over Atlanta. When I lived in Midtown, I was like, okay. And then I went to, where was it? Citizen Supply.
Yeah.
And saw him there, and like it was all over the place. And then when I was opening the business, I was like, I got to find out how I can make something that has an impact like what you've been doing. And then I was on your website so much and looking at your social media and how you did it. And, you know, I'm sitting here now.
Wearing one of the shirts.
I got 2 of the shirts, and I've never ridden a motorcycle in my life.
I love
and it's like, just how did you create, like, was this the dream to have something like this now? Has it always been there, or where did that come from? Like
I think coming up from like as a graphic designer for the past 15 years, or kind of like we were joking around, and grew up drawing and all that. But you know, so when the idea of Brother Moto came about, it wasn't just about motorcycles or coffee or anything like that. It was about building a brand. And I think with that idea, you know, and wanting to brand things well and keep everything consistent is kind of what was able to make people that never ridden before latch on to this idea, or, you know, see it as a brand and not just like a space. So yeah, that was kind of the goal from the beginning. And it is neat seeing my designs and shirts, you know, all throughout the city or California, and, you know, people send pictures in other countries and stuff, and it's kind of cool.
Did that dream literally start when you were, you know, drawing? Did you always want to create? What brands did you see that you were like, I want to be like?
And I don't think so, like, because I did design as a service, you know, for other people, and never quite knew how I wanted to jump into it for myself, you know, until I made a concept for a company, you know, and took the actual leap. So I would definitely look at other companies and be like, that's cool, but it was never, I never quite knew where it'd take me. It's not like I had it all road mapped out.
Right. Was there an underlying dream that you did want that then led to where this is now? Like, do you feel like, because for me it was like, I wanted to come to America, play in the NBA. And that was the dream that got me here. And then just seeing like we were talking about before we started rolling, was like, America to me was the dream to come here and live here. And then it was when I got here, I saw like people support your dreams, people support your goals, and people are open to me. And like, whereas where I come from, it feels like a lot of people like, who do you think you are that you can go and do that? Was this how did the community garage happen? How did that stem from you wanting to create a brand, or you just designing things? Because I mean, you can feel when you come in here, everything's specifically placed, and there's a feel to, even in a workshop. Like this is not just a normal workshop, you know, like this is not just normal garage. Like everything looks amazing, even though like it's not all brand new stuff. It's not. It just has this feel to it that
I think it, you know, so we kind of started, it was 3 of us that started Brother Moto. I was actually living in some lofts right up the road, and I got into motorcycles when I moved to Atlanta, and didn't really know any other people to ride with or wrench with, but I met these other 2 guys, Bobby and Brandon, and we all had vintage bikes. They were always breaking down. We'd always go over to whoever had the most garage space or driveway, you know, and work on our bikes. But we just kind of came up with the idea of like, what if we had a shared space garage, you know, and you could bring your bike in and work on it. So that was just kind of like the basic of basic, you know, idea.
It literally started in a garage.
Yeah.
And now it's
And so we started like, I finally got like a shed that I could fit a few bikes in. And so like, you know, once a week or once a month, we'd invite some people over, you know, and work on each other's bikes and stuff. So, you know, it started very grassroots. And we had the idea of like, okay, what if we threw an event, you know, for the motorcycle scene in Atlanta, just to see who's all out there. Because, it's being somewhat new to the city, I didn't know where to find other people, you know, same with Bobby and Brandon. So we threw like a event, it was just called like Brother Moto Presents Something Fun.
Okay.
And we had no clue what we were gonna do really. We thought we would build a bike to give away, you know, at this event. And so we threw it and had like 300 people show up from all over, you know, the city. And it was just a super encouraging, you know, time to be like, okay, there's people out here.
There's something.
Yeah,
there. There's a market. People want this. People have been looking for this.
Totally.
Right? And that's kind of like, you come here now and you have the branding. People are wearing your shirts. It's, you know, it's super fucking cool, you know. And people looking from the outside will be like, it's kind of like, oh, it's obvious, you know. Like people look at the gym that I've created, hopefully now, and they're like, it's running successfully. I don't have to be there every day.
Yeah.
It's become a brand that I want to then move on to make other spaces and things like that. But what's the reality of it really day to day, you know, because I think from the outside, like people are going to come in and like, oh, it's a fucking cool coffee shop, it's a really cool bike space, and they could do that themselves in their garage. But the reality is not always that simple, right? Like
totally. The reality is working my ass off
and still working your ass off, right?
4 years later, you know, still trying to grow the business, trying to, you know, having more employees, still working some side jobs just to make myself some money, you know.
And from the outside, people won't believe that. Right? They think oh, you making millions.
Totally. And that's one of the biggest concerns with like even social media. Like we have a big social media following, so they think I'm rich, but it doesn't, you know, none of that correlates with each other.
You just go around riding bikes.
That's all I do all day, you know. And people will be like, oh man, you get to hang out in the shop all day and just like be around motorcycles. It's like, no, I'm in the back office, you know, trying to think of product lines for next year and work out events.
How is that now? How hard do you still work it now then? What is?
Pretty hard, because so there was 3 of us. It is now just me working the operational side of things, and so it's kind of been a lot on my plate, and just because I have a vision to continue to grow and open up other locations and, you know, move this concept in other cities. So it's like how do we systematize as much as possible and grow the brand at the same time.
And where does that come from, you know? Because I think a lot of people would look at this and be like, oh, it's really cool, it's set, like for me, I remember I wanted a gym, and then that happened, and then I was like, actually, I want the next thing. I want more. And where do you think that comes from for you?
I guess it's that entrepreneurial spirit of just like, I don't know. It's not like I'm not satisfied with anything. I just know that once I have X figured out, I can replicate, and, you know, it just continues to grow. So it's not a drive to like even make money or anything. It's just a drive to like, it's kind of fun to be able to meet new people, be in new places, you know, and grow something.
And what you've created here, like what is the thing that, when are the days that it's worth it, you know? Because I mean, like people don't see the hours that you put in. People don't see, when do you sit back and look and say, okay, it was worth it for that moment there? Or like, is it when the shop's busy, or is it?
It's, you know, we have like 150 members, and we'll have some shop nights with them, and it's like seeing a guy that just moved here, doesn't know anyone, become a member, and now he's got, you know, 80 friends and people to go ride with, and I start to see them hanging out in the
That's
coffee
cool.
shop together,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, that's really exciting just because it's like I at least facilitated this environment for them to feel comfortable, you know. So that's one of the most rewarding.
How did you make that happen? Because like, I imagine it has the same thing of the gym.
Yeah.
It's like, kind of like a motorbike shop has its own language, probably, right? It has its intimidation factor. Like, there's a coolness to it that maybe is intimidating. How do you break them barriers down for people to come in and like, do you force that on people? Do you force community or like?
Not really. I think, and that was one of the biggest like misconceptions when we were trying to get open, especially working with like local zoning and the neighborhood. You know, they hear motorcycle company, they're thinking Hell's Angels coming in, and I think just our natural personalities, we like to have fun. You know, we're not intimidating people, and I think kind of finding the right employees and even our members and stuff, it's like the people that get it are the ones that come here. You know, and it's I don't know, it's kind of exciting. That was always a goal, and even from our early writings about us, it's like we want a place for the Moto Curious. So like that's kind of saying like you don't need to even have a motorcycle, you know, but maybe you do ride, but you're still curious about other bikes and stuff, or maybe you don't ride. And we've always wanted to create like a welcoming environment. So, you know, that's number one for us is you'll be greeted by someone will be chatting with you. And I think that just goes down to our members and customers even.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because I mean, like for us in the gym, it was forcing people, like we have it now, everybody has to know each other when you come in here, right? You want to know each other's name and something about them, and we make sure that happens. Because I've been to a lot of gyms where I sometimes go in and test, like, okay, I've been here an hour and no one spoke to me, you know what I mean? And like when I come in here and the person behind the counter is super friendly, asking you questions like, oh, where do you live and things like that, that makes a difference, right? And how did you make sure that was what you employed first? Because I mean, places like this could be really cool and not have that, right? It could be like you go to some coffee shops where they make a point not to talk to you, and your coffee takes 25 minutes, and you know what I mean? So like,
and that was kind of one of our we always hired the person, not their skill set, even. So it was like, I mean, one of our best employees, she didn't drink coffee, didn't have a motorcycle, didn't, you know, like, but she was just someone that you wanted to sit and talk with, you know, and you could kind of tell they had that like charisma and that thing that would just work well in this environment. So, you know, meanwhile, there's some people that like had all the skill sets, managed these things and all this, and it's like, but they didn't have that personality.
But I just didn't want to be around you.
Yeah.
Because I have people all the time now, people we hire as coaches, and it's they say to me like, but I'm not good enough as an athlete, you know? And I say to them like, I don't give a shit what you were like as an athlete. Because that's not why we exist. You know, we exist for normal people to come and get the best part of their day. The best hour of their life when they come to the gym. That's what we're aiming for. And then that's what I want to create next with the workspace, is a place where it doesn't matter if you're the best business owner. Do you have the personality to create something that other people want to be around, right? And like, because when people talk about you, like, I remember the person that connected us was like, he's a marketing genius, right? You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, do you ever find that disrespectful in a way? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's super respectful. But do you ever find it disrespectful in a way like, no, I just work really fucking hard to make this, like, to call me a genius is like taking away 10 years of work, 20 years of work into what now is. And
I laugh because it's like, I definitely don't feel like that. You know, it's thousands and thousands of failures and hours of working on other things, and you know, and having the design background, working for other clients, doing things that's helped. But it's still, I mean, my biggest thing I always tell people that are trying to start something is it's like, just do it. Don't try to have it figured out. Like, just do it and keep fucking up over and over and over again. And like, one day something will catch on pay off. But if you're too scared to actually like put something out there because it's not perfect or ideal, like you're just never going to do it.
Right. And you'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah. Like we signed the lease to this building and didn't have the money to build it out. But like that pressure allowed us to like, all right, we got to figure this out, you know? And we're open.
And what, can you talk about failures that you've had? Is there any big ones that stand out, like that either could have broke you or you had, because I know you had to move when you first opened, right? How did that?
Yeah, so we had our first space in East Atlanta Village 4 years ago, and that was one we bootstrapped by the bike I mentioned about. We raffled off, and that gave us enough funds to like sign 2 months lease and build out the space. And it was kind of a marketing thing at the same time because we were giving away a motorcycle, and so
then what a way to do it, because now everybody feels like it's their space too, right? Because they all had an impact on making that place happen, right?
Exactly.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and everyone got that like chance of I could have a motorcycle too, you know? So some guy got it for $20 and you know. But
you got 2 months of rent.
Exactly.
Too, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing.
We built out that space. It was awesome. It was about just the size of this garage. We leased the space next to us. We were going to do the coffee shop aspect of it. And we got hit up by the city of Atlanta saying that we weren't zoned correctly to have a repair shop in this space because that neighborhood only allowed 2 repair shops, and there's already 2. And because of how outdated zoning laws were, there was nothing that fit a DIY garage.
So you got kicked out.
Yeah.
And like, for some people, that might have been the end, because you'd worked your asses off to get this place open. And it was finally being successful, right? You were finally probably able to pay rent, and it was becoming a job that you've enjoyed, and then it's not fair what happened. So you could have been like, it's not fair.
And that was, we came to our members, we had like a members meeting, and we told them, and we're like, what do you guys want to do? Like, is this valuable enough that, you know, you want to see us like try to figure out a new space? And they're all like, yeah. And they all kept paying when we didn't have a building to work in, you know, and, and would come and help, build out this space and everything. And it took a whole year to build out this
How did
space.
you feel when people kept paying to rent a space?
With
no space.
It was a really good feeling, you know, in a way that like, it's hard for me, one, to ask for help or like to receive from other people. And so it was a really honorable feeling of like, oh, this is something they do believe in. And
what did you create there then? Do you think that people were paying for even when it wasn't there? Like, how do you?
I think just that
it was bigger than the walls, right, of the place.
It was the community aspect of, you know, like, this is something we all need, you know, and want, and and they wanted Atlanta to have that kind of thing. So
and I feel like there's a lot of parallels to what we're doing at the gym. I feel like there's a lot of, it's so much bigger than the 4 walls, right? It's a family. Is that how you look at this? Because I mean, community's thrown around a lot now, right? A lot of places are saying they're creating community, and it's a group of people in the same space. That's not a community. So like, now we don't use that word anymore. We're like, no, this is family, because it's more, because down the street they're saying community, and people don't even
know each other's name.
That's the person that goes to my gym. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's the person. That's Dave. And Dave has 3 kids. And he works at, you know what I mean? That's a massive difference.
And that's what you see here is like, guys and girls, you know, outside of here helping each other move, you know, like doing things, going out to dinner and stuff like that they would have never known each other without the space.
And I don't know about you, but it's taught me a lot, because we've had people like, hey, my AC broke. And they post that. And someone's been like, we have a spare room in our house.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
Some random person, imagine that at another gym. Like, you know what I mean? Hey, my AC broke, you can come and live with me until it's fixed.
Totally.
And like, for me, it was like, it made me be like, wow. And now for something that like, I don't know if I would have done that at first. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, okay.
You could be, shows you how to give. And,
yeah. It teaches you about like, okay, yeah, I need to be like that. And like, it's amazing to see that people really, in a big city, Atlanta, where, you know, like when I was saying I was in London and people would walk through you. Yeah. And then I went to the gym and people knew your name and they actually gave a shit. Yeah. It taught me a lot. And then to now create that and to see what you've created here, it's awesome to watch. And
well, thank you.
Yeah. So we were talking about going from failure to failure. That's been a big part of my life, I feel like. What makes you not afraid to fail? Like when you said you opened this place and you didn't have the money to build it out, how did you have the guts to just go for it? I mean, I know people were paying memberships, but still, like,
it wasn't enough to do much of anything.
Yeah.
I think just kind of that like curiosity of always knowing that like you should be able to figure something out. You know, and especially being surrounded by enough good people, that there's going to be someone that could jump in and help out if need be.
Because I hear people all the time tell me like, I've always wanted a gym. I've always wanted a, I mean, I bet you hear it all the time, right? Yeah. And then they maybe like, some people even show me a business plan, but I need $200,000. Yeah. And I'm like, who the fuck is going to give me $200,000? You don't have any, like, you better start off with, for you, like, start off with one t-shirt.
Yeah, totally.
Right? You start off with one bike, but start, right? Like, make a start. Like, we started off with one podcast episode, but like,
and you'll never get to X if you don't start here.
And we fucked the first one up, but because we messed up the first one, the second one is going to be better.
Totally.
And then the third one's going to be better.
Totally.
Like, and is that?
Yeah, that's definitely it. And I've, even in like the design world and stuff, I'd always tell people that it's like just getting it out there, doing it consistently, because that's something I see all the time is someone starts something and 2 weeks later they're done. You know, it's like I think I've had the drive in myself to like, I'll start something and 4 years later I'm still doing it. You know, which can be bad at times, but it's you know, it's just that consistency of doing it even when no one's listening. And I think that's what's wrong with like our age right now and social media and everything, is like people get discouraged immediately because they don't have the followers. You know, you may not have viewers for 2 years, but it's like you keep it up for 10 years and you could be the top.
And you might have something in 10 years time. And it's like, I think I learned that through basketball was to be a professional, you need 10,000 hours or 10 years, right? And so I was like, I started really when I was 18. So when I got to 26 and I still wasn't anybody, I was like, well, I still need to give it 4 years to see if I could be. And then once I've got to 10 years, now I can say, all right, now it's time to decide, am I good enough or not? How do we help people get that patience, do you think?
I think some people just don't have it.
Okay.
You know, I think some people just like, they're either too analytical or like they just don't have it, you know, but doesn't mean they don't have a space or a place. And I think there's the people with the entrepreneurial spirit, and then there's the people there that are there to surround them, you know, and help them with those day-to-days or support. And that's something I've always like told people too that want to start something, but you can kind of tell they don't have that drive, is like, but you could support someone. Like you don't have to do your own thing. You could help someone else do their thing.
Right.
And that's just,
there's a place for you.
And that's just as like important. You know,
because now it's becoming cool, right, to be an entrepreneur. And to open
everyone
a
wants
business.
to. I mean,
I have a brand.
Right. I get 3 emails a week probably about, I want to start one of these in my city. You know, and I always try to give advice, because like, that was me 4 years ago, reaching out to people. So it's like I always want to try to give back, you know, the concepts.
The difficult thing for me when somebody asks you for that is like, your real advice that you want to give might not sink in, right? Because when you say like, well, start with one t-shirt, and they're like, no, but you don't understand. You're like,
but
no,
I have this whole vision.
Understand. You have to do this first to then be successful.
And that's usually my thing, is like find a couple buddies and get a small space together. You know, but the thing I usually don't say, which I feel like has been the success part, is like, we've always viewed ourselves as a brand.
Okay.
You know, it's like, and most of these DIY garages and stuff are started by a mechanic that likes to work on motorcycles.
Right.
And it's like, I'm not a mechanic. I love working on motorcycles, but we wanted to brand something and, you know, and start from there.
You had that different way of looking at a bike shop from the start. It wasn't like, I just really love bikes.
Yeah.
It was like, I love bikes, but I love building some brand.
Totally.
A lot more than that. And then that's why it's become what it is now.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting for me is because like I love fitness, but it's not that there's only one way to do it, right? It's like there's many ways to do it. Let's find the way that works for the most people. So yeah, it's really interesting to see that evolve. So like what would you say the biggest times in your career have been the times when you've taken a massive leap into something and been like, we'll figure it out?
I think that's, you never quite grow unless you have that tension. You know, if I came as a trust fund baby and just like this probably wouldn't still be a company because I wouldn't be growing as a person, you know, and trying to push the company. And I think kind of those hard struggles, you know, have really kind of pushed the brand, pushed myself to how do we continue making things better.
That's awesome, man. And I mean, I can't wait to see what's next. But like you said, like when you have that work ethic and you, like you said, you're here and by the time it gets to Thursday, you're getting a little bit tired. And like how do you see yourself, like, what are you learning to kind of pull yourself back from that? Are you doing that now? Because you were talking about like you give yourself Thursday to go and work on the bikes and things like that. Like,
I've had to like schedule time to like get back into working on bikes because I honestly didn't do that for about a year when we were building out the space and stuff. And it's like I started this motorcycle thing and not even working on motorcycles. So you know, giving myself opportunities to do that. I'm also just I got into running like a year ago and just being healthy and fit and stuff, and like that's just been the biggest way for myself to debrief and probably burn off all the coffee that I drink.
Nice.
But it's, you know, just finding those little things that like pull me away from the company but recharge me. You know, running, I'm still spinning my gears and thinking of ideas.
Because there is that time when you have to be all in, right? The company comes first because I got to pay rent. But then as soon as you get past that, then it's like recognizing that you have to now pull yourself back a little bit and be like, for this to grow, I have to take care of me too.
Totally.
And like for me, that's, I know I have to work out. I know I have to do all these other things to then be the best version of that to make it go.
And I think what's helped that is like, I've always kind of done everything myself. You know, it's like I can be good at anything if I put my mind to it, but now I just want to be a good boss, business owner. So how do I find the people that can fit those, you know, other roles, which allows me to step away, you know, even more, which stepping away sounds bad, but it's like,
no.
You need to.
So I hired a business coach right away when I opened. And for me, that helped me avoid so many pitfalls that I would have gone down. And now, right from the start, this company was like, you have to start firing yourself. You have to become the CEO. And for us workers that just know hard work, you kind of feel like that's not the right thing to do. But then you see, every time you step out of a role and give it to somebody else, the business grows. Every time you step back, the business keeps growing.
Because they're able to just focus on that one thing where you're focusing on 10 things.
But
you know?
I think one thing I worry about is people hearing that and thinking they do that from the start. You know what I mean? But you have to build the, you need this first, right? And then you add somebody else, and then you.
Well, and you also get the understanding of each of those departments, you know, or roles, which is really important too.
What would you say is the number one thing, and I think this is the one thing that I want to know from you, is what did you do different to create that brand and then business? Or were they both together at the same time? Or was it like, I know that we need to, I feel like when I see what you did, you were always thinking end game, not the start, right? Like it was like you could see further ahead.
Yeah, that's cool that it looks that way.
Yeah.
I think that's just, yeah.
Because you had nothing and there was a brand.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you didn't even have a space and there was a brand.
Yeah.
Some people have 5 businesses and there's no brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how did you were like, you had something there that was even.
I think just coming from the design background of like, I could think of the whole concept of what this was going to be, and I was able to encompass that in the brand from the beginning, you know, and from the products and everything that, I guess, I mean, it's kind of just me in a way, you know, like it's Brother's been a way for me to be able to like experiment and have fun, and just, it's kind of, I do a lot of things I would never tell another company to do, you know, like I feel like I'm not very consistent as far as like even our logo types and typography and stuff like that, but but I just kind of do what feels right in the moment, you know, with, as long as it encompasses everything else. So I break all my own rules.
And like you said, you wouldn't tell, like, there's a lot of things that I do that I'm like, I don't know if this is the best thing for the business, but I see where it would go. Like making sure that you maybe spend more on t-shirts. You maybe have more, like we pay for sport teams, and like technically it doesn't make money sense to do that, but I know that it is bigger than that for the community, because it allows people to have different sports, and it's like, it's not necessarily the best business decision, but is it in 10 years time? And like the way I try and think about my business is like, I want it to be here for 10 years. I maybe leave some money on the table now. Do you think like that too, or is it?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, that's kind of even going back to investing in the right employees and people, you know, that hired like a shop manager, and
maybe you can't afford it right now.
I can't afford it, you know, but it's like, I know I can't be here all the time, and I need someone that encompasses that, you know. So it's hopefully in 2 years it pays off, you know. So it's finding those little areas that you can invest in, and that was a product. Instead of doing, you know, the cheapest whatever, it's like we try to do something nice and something, you know, we would actually want to wear. I think this is actually one of the first shirts that we ever did. So it's like 5 years old. And,
wow.
You know, it's still like one of my favorites. But
and there's a different, like there is a different quality to these shirts. Like this is one of my favorite shirts to wear. You know what I mean? And honestly, like when I'm doing my shirts, I think of like how you guys have done it, and I'm like, I want it to be bigger than just a t-shirt to people, and like mean something to them. So it's really cool just to get to chat with you a little bit, and hopefully, you know, like I'd love to be able to ask your advice and like just
I always find it so funny, because it's like, I don't know what I'm doing half the time, you know. And it's like
but you just done it, and it worked,
and
what didn't work,
you just
threw out, and
people don't see the things that didn't work, you know.
Exactly.
Or they just laugh at it, but there's plenty of things that didn't work. But
well, cool, man. I'd love to chat with you again sometime, and I can't wait to see, like, where do you see it going in the next few years? And like,
I am currently looking at other spaces, in other cities.
In other cities?
Nice. So, you know, and just kind of the goal with that is just encompass whatever that city is. You know, it doesn't have to be coffee, and it might be a bar and motorcycles, and
you just gonna fucking go for it again, right? And see what happens. So
see what happens, and just growing the product line and stuff as well. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man.